Welcome everyone to our Week 7 North Carolina High School football season 2023 educational video series for officials. We will take a look at previous week's plays where we can learn from them, enhance our knowledge of the rules, and improve our mechanics so that we can get better each week. Let's get into our first play of the week. First play this week, we're going to talk about mechanics specifically for the back judge and why these mechanics are important. As we take a look at this play here, the ball's being snapped at approximately the 23-yard line going in. So this is a play where we're going to have a running play to the far side of the field where the running back is going to press the goal line in the far side pylon. So in this play, we need to have our back judge on the goal line. As the ball was snapped at 23, that's the best position to be on the goal line. And then the head linesman, in this case, will come down the sideline. The head linesman will have the inbounds, out of bounds pylon, and the back judge will have the goal line. And then those two officials, if needed, will need to communicate with each other before giving any type of a signal so that we get an accurate call in this play. So remember, back judges, make sure you're on the goal line to help with plays that are pressing the goal line. The second play also talks, we're going to look at mechanics here, and we're going to look at mechanics specifically for the head linesman, and this happens to be an extra point play. So the head linesman here is on the line of scrimmage. And notice after the kick how the head linesman comes in strong to the play and helps to clean up. This is a good job by the head linesman here. If you just take a second look at this, with the head linesman coming in on this play, this is so important. This helps to clean up. We have approximately 22 players in there, and this helps to separate them, keep anything from further happening. So this is a great job, and this is what we need to do in these plays. So our next play here is we're going to talk about off-ball officiating. And I've done a lot of plays this year about off-ball and dead ball officiating, and this kickoff just exemplifies that. This is the first kickoff of the game, the initial kickoff, this first play. And we're going to look at the two players right here we have inside the gold circle, two from each team. And we're going to watch the action as we see the ball on the far side of the field. These players are on this side's hash. And as we can see, there's action here that's, not football related. We don't want to see on the field. So in this situation, maybe we just want to talk to these players since this is the first play. We want to be aware of this. The whole crew wants to be aware of this. Maybe you see something here that you need to flag, and that's okay. But the important thing is that we address it in this game early and that we're aware of it, because if this type of action is going to continue, then we need to start flagging and addressing it more severely, because we can't allow this to continue, especially since this is the first play of the game. So we need to keep an eye on that, keep off ball officiating, and that will help us. This play we're going to take a look at, we're going to notice that we have 5 circles here. We have our 2 wing officials on the sideline, head linesman, line judge. We have the back judge in position, and then we have the umpire that looks like he's just coming off the ball, just may have placed the ball, but he's looking downfield of the field of the defense, where we see inside the circle the referee who is in the defensive backfield in the wrong position. And we see the play gets off, and they're actually running the play, and it's still going on, and the other 4 officials are actually officiating the play. And we don't want that to happen, because obviously we're out of position, and we don't want this ball to get snapped. So we can't hear a whistle because we don't have the volume. But what should happen here, if you notice that you look around at your crew, any official, or all the officials, and you notice, in this case, where the referee is, and you should be looking to make sure your crew is ready. If you notice they're not in position, then take the initiative and blow that whistle hard, stop the play, you stop the clock, come in. All officials should be doing that. Stopping this play prior to the snap, shutting the play down before the play continues like it did. We need to stop the play because we have safety issues. We have it looking that we're in position, and we don't want that to happen. I don't know what actually occurred here, how these circumstances had, but the officials on the field in this play should have looked around, and you should notice that if your referee's not in position, are another obvious position. So if the official's not ready or doesn't look prepared or something's going on, let's shut the play down. Let's get the crew in position and ready to officiate before we allow the snap to get off on these plays. Next play we're going to look at is a potential roughing the snapper here. And we're going to look inside the gold circle at the player. We'll watch the play through, and then we'll take a look at the rule to refresh ourselves, and then come back and take a second look at the play. And as we can see here, this is a kicking formation. The offensive team is in a scrimmage kick formation. and then the snapper snaps, and in come the defensive player. So let's take a look at the rule. So we have Rule 9, Section 4, Article 6, which says roughing the snapper. A defensive player shall not charge directly into the snapper when the offensive team is in a scrimmage kick formation. Take a second look at this play and slow it down a little bit. The defensive player definitely charges into the snapper on this play, which is the rule. And the defensive player lines up over the snapper, which in high school is legal, but he cannot charge directly into him per the rule. So a flag on this play for roughing the snapper, I think, would be supported, would be a good call on this play as we see it in this video. This play we're going to look at is a kickoff. And as we can see, the kicking team is all brought in real close, bunched up near the ball. So remember, they got to all meet the criteria for kickoff. But as we get the play going here, we can see that the kicking team is off sides, and the back judge does a good job of recognizing this and flagging this because this is obviously an onside kick attempt, and that offsides is an advantage. So we want to get that. We want to officiate that like a pane of glass cage restraining line. The other thing here is they still have to meet all the criteria, the kicking team. They have to make sure that they have a minimum of 4 players on each side of the ball at the kick. They have to ensure that they meet the criteria. If this kicker was back beyond 5 yards, that player was the player that kicked the ball. And whoever does kick the ball, do we still have 4 on each side of that ball at the time of kickoff? So there's a lot of things to look at here when they're closely bunched up like this. It makes it a little bit difficult, but we have to be ready for this, and we have to make sure that they meet all the criteria for kickoff and also officiate that like a pane of glass like the back judge does here, and that's a good job. So just keep that in mind on these types of kickoffs. Be ready for them, be prepared, and you'll be able to officiate it well. So we're going to look at this play twice live time because it goes by quickly. We have a snap muffed by the holder. Kicker receives the snap, and then he throws it downfield on this play. And so we're going to take a look at a couple things here, and we're also going to take a look at the rule on intentional grounding and how it applies to this, potentially this. So let's take a look at Rule 7, Section 5, Article 2 as it relates to this play, and also it's going to relate to the following plays. So let's take a look at it now. So Article 2 states an illegal forward pass is a foul. Illegal forward pass include, and then we get on to D, and it says a pass intentionally thrown into an area not occupied by an eligible offensive receiver or thrown incomplete to save loss of yardage or to conserve time. The exceptions are it is legal for a player positioned directly behind the snapper to conserve time by intentionally throwing the ball forward to the ground immediately after receiving the snap that has neither been muffed nor touched the ground. Or in 2, it is legal for a player to conserve yardage by intentionally throwing an incomplete forward pass if all the following conditions are met. A, the passer has possessed the ball beyond the lateral boundary of the free blocking zone as established at the snap. B, the pass reaches the neutral zone, including the extension beyond the sideline. And in C, the passer is the only player to possess the ball after the snap ends. So let's go back and take a look at the play. So as we take a second look at this play, there's a couple things that we could take a look and kind of theorize about this play. Is first of all, we have a muff by the holder. So the holder never possesses the ball. So it goes back to the kicker. So the kicker in this play will become the actual passer because the kicker is the one that possesses the ball after the snap ends. And so then we have a throw downfield, and the other thing here, if you're on this field, is you got to know who is eligible and ineligible to receive this ball. Now, when the ball comes down and lands, it lands in an area there are no eligible receivers. So we could talk about, is this intentional grounding? Because the passer did not meet one of the requirements, and that was getting outside of the free blocking zone boundary lines. But in this particular play, with this being an extra point and falling incomplete, obviously that would be the result of the play. But this is a really good play to discuss these types of things, knowing eligibles and ineligibles, knowing who was the passer who received the snap, and knowing, was the ball thrown in an area with eligible receivers or not. And although it doesn't really apply too much because on this play we have an incomplete pass on an extra point. Let's say this was potentially a situation where we had a field goal attempt for some reason on a third down play or whatever. It would be important to know those things as far as the intentional grounding rule applies. But also, if we did have an ineligible downfield who did catch this ball, we would need to have a flag on that. So lots of things to keep in mind here in these plays. And although this play does not demonstrate all of that, it's just things to think about if it would have happened in this play. As we get in and look at our next play here, we're going to have an intentional grounding call on the light blue team here. We're going to have the snap, and then the quarterback is going to roll out towards the line judge side. We're going to take a look at this play from two angles. First from the line judge side and then the end zone view. And as you can see right here, we have our two wing officials on the line of scrimmage, which is the 25-yard line, which is in great position to be able to rule on this. We have the quarterback back there at the 36-yard line, which on this play would be the spot of enforcement for intentional grounding plus the loss of down. And then we can see the ball out of the quarterback's hands here. So he's outside of the free blocking zone lines on this play. So he's met that criteria. He's the one that possessed the ball after the snap. But we do not have the ball that goes to the line of scrimmage here, as you will see. Also, you have two circles downfield around the 15-yard line. We're going to get to those in the next end zone view and talk more about those two players downfield and another player involved. And so you can see right here, the ball doesn't make the line of scrimmage. So the crew communicates, hey, the ball doesn't make the line of scrimmage. The referee comes up to the 36-yard line, drops the flag, and that's the spot of enforcement on this play. So, that's proper way to do this play, proper enforcement and proper communication helps to get this play right. Now, as we move to the end zone view here and we take a look, we're going to see that those players that we had in circles and plus an additional player right here, this player right here is blocking an offensive player blocking downfield. So when this ball goes, the quarterback throws this ball or the passer throws the ball, and you can see the two linemen downfield here also. When he throws the ball, obviously it doesn't make the line of scrimmage in this play. So we don't have offensive pass interference or we don't have linemen downfield. But if the ball did make the line of scrimmage and did go downfield, we could have those two fouls. And so good communication by the crew here. The crew communicates, even if we did throw, the back judge did throw one of those two penalties, we could pick them up, wave them off. But keep that in mind. We need to communicate here so that we get the proper foul called and the proper enforcement on this play. But a lot of things to look at on these types of plays, and a lot of communication has to take place to get them correct. Look at our next play here. We're going to look at a punt play. And on this punt play, we're specifically going to focus on the back judge position. And we're also going to take a look at the line judge side. But as we can see here, we're looking for the line judge side of the view. And as we come down here, we can see that the back judge is on the line judge side. And the back judge needs to be over there on the far side or on the head linesman side of the field so we get proper balanced coverage. Because as you'll see where this play develops, it puts the back judge on the line judge side, and they almost come together and officiating the same area. So it's important that we get proper positioning so we have proper balance and proper coverage on these plays. So head linesman side is where the back judge needs to be. Now, as the play develops, we're going to see the line judge here looking out of bounds, and there's a good reason. There are two players that were involved in the play that have worked their way downfield and actually went out of bounds. So this is really good job here by the line judge to turn and keep an eye on these players out of bounds because they were part of the play to begin with. And the other four officials can basically manage the field. You can see them coming back on the field here inside the circle, and the line judge is acknowledging, their presence and so forth. So that's a good job. And so as this play develops, here we go. We can see the back judge and line judge basically from the same positioning almost. It's a few yards apart. We want to try to avoid that. Next play here involves a kickoff, and we're going to talk about the referee's position. And the referee should start on the goal line and come forward as the play develops. If you're starting up in front of the goal line and then they kick the ball deep, in this instance, or the ball gets by the receiver, then the referee will end up working backwards, and that means the referee turns their back to the play, works backwards, and then has to turn around and come back up. So position yourself, goal line referee, on kickoffs, and then work forward up the field, and that way you'll be facing the action and in the play that is coming towards you versus you're having to turn your back to the play, run back to the goal line. Also, that goal line is important on kickoffs. We want to be in position on that goal line to rule on whether it crosses or breaks the plane of the goal line. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and viewing this week's educational video as we continue our video educational series for the 2023 football season for our football officials. I hope the information contained in this video benefited you in some way, and I hope you have a great week. And until next time, stay safe and see you in week 8.